Hello and welcome to an honest walkthrough and review of String Formations by Fracture Sounds. This is a collection of long string textures recorded with an intimate ensemble. I think it was only recorded with 3 violins, 3 violas and 3 cellos, so nice and small. We've got mic positions, we've got some nice ambiences as well, but really the goal of this library is to create motion within your music. So we're going to see if they achieve that. Now this is available within the Contact player, so you'll only have to buy the actual product itself. Starting price is €99, dollars, and £89. Full price will be £129 or $149 or euros. We've got a lot to get through, but I just want to jump in, start with the main Unison textures, start playing, and then we'll start talking about them as well. So without further ado, let's listen to our first articulation. Absolutely gorgeous. The first thing that really stands out to me about these is the way they've tuned them. This is not a legato patch. This is not a bread and butter library. This is something that goes underneath the strings that you already have. And you can tell by the way they've tuned it. If you just hit a chord, take your hands off, you hear that release, that ebb and flow, but it allows you to move from chord to chord quite smoothly and have that motion, and it's very easy to create something quite beautiful, I feel, with this library. But that one was Airy Sustains, exactly what it says on the tin. I love the dynamic fader as well. You can really have this ebb and flow feel with that articulation, at least. And actually, if we click on it, there's settings so we can go into it even more and effect the attack and release if we really want. So we can take that right off. And, well, you can make it a little bit tighter if you really want. That's probably a bit too tight. So if you do want to strip it back, you can, although I really like where they had it. And if you want even more, you can as well. I have noticed as well, your mod wheel is attached to the atmosphere intensity as well as the dynamic. That's an interesting choice because really, as well as making it quieter, it's stripping back the atmosphere layers that we have over here. You'll notice we have the mic positions and it's very much kind of close mid. You got a little bit of everything there, as always. They kind of set it in the middle, but if we want a more intimate feel, let's move on to flowing sustains, take the reverb off and just listen to some of these mic positions actually. You can really hear that resin. Absolutely love that. Right, we're going to put some just our mid mic on. Turn that close off. I like the stereo field with that one. The close is definitely close and intimate, but the mid just opens it up in the stereo field. And last but not least, our far. Gorgeous. I love the space it is in. You really don't need that reverb, but of course you've got it there as well if you want to add to it. Let's just have another kind of mid sort of mix. I'm going to move on to current again. We can affect the attack, panning volume, and release with all these different articulations. And I believe as well, if you hold shift and click a second articulation, you can use two articulations together as well. So if you want to mix some of these together, or even, I think, can we go to 3? Yep, you can. If you really want, you can turn them all on. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to go through them one at a time. We might try that later. I love the motion that one creates. Just the little bits that come out. You hear a bit more violin, and then that kind of fades. You hear more viola, you hear more cello. I love the way that one flows and creates motion. Blooms. Might put a little bit of delay in, actually, just to mix things up. And the color just brightens it up or warms it up, depending what you want. Again, another one that does exactly what it says on the tin. Blooms. I just have imagery of spring and flowers popping out. But absolutely gorgeous. Demonstrated the color there as well. If I'm honest, I really like it just slap bang in the middle. But for, style wise, I guess you could use that. Let's move on to Interspersed Tremolo. Again, I just love how things just pop out in the mix. Just a little bit this, but a little bit of that. They've really mixed these so well, and they sound absolutely gorgeous. Let's move on to our streams. I love that. This is not something I have in my collection. These are different. And the realism on these as well is absolutely gorgeous. You know, this library is doing exactly what it says on the tin. It's string formations. It's creating motion in multiple different ways. All these articulations have their own blend. And honestly, I'm absolutely loving this. The quality is exceptional. And like a lot of texture libraries, I just like hitting a chord and listening to what's going on within the stereo field, the motion that it just creates. I know I'm saying that word a lot, but what more can I say? That's Flutters. I want to bring that a bit more intimate, I feel. Let's just use the perspective mixer. And we have not really touched the layer mixer yet, but we will do in a second. They've got the mic positions just right as well. That close, oh, gorgeous, with a bit of mid. Perfect. You get the gist with that one. Let's move on to Sporadic Harmonics. We'll mess with the layer mix as well. Let's actually just mute the raw and see what's going on underneath with this atmosphere. So this is Plume. Ooh, I really like that. So this airy, organic yet synthetic feel to it. This is kind of a jitters. Azure. Again, I really like how they've linked the dynamics and the atmosphere intensity, because this is very much string-like, and when we bring the dynamics back, it just brings this more raw sound out. Pillars? I like that. Yeah, that's really cool. Right, let's actually listen to all this together with this articulation. Getting almost Hammond organ vibes with this one. It has this breathy feel to it. And I kind of like the atonal twist that you can kind of put on these as well. I feel you can use these in a number of different styles. Let's move on. As I said, we do have a number of different patches. I'll quickly show you those. We just looked at the main Unison textures. You do have all the individual articulations as well in folders. So you've got the chordal textures there as well. If I extend that so you can actually see, so we have all our chordal textures. Those are the individual articulations. You've got all the Unison textures right there as well that we just looked at. There are some additional ones as well, the additional Unison textures, which I think we'll move into now. We'll then go over our chordal textures. These are really cool, especially the way they've designed them. And then we have this layer blend. We saw that in Trails, a really fun mix of organic and something, kind of create these your own sort of layers with these. That's definitely something to check out. At the bottom of the video, I always try and leave chapter markings as well, so if you want to skip straight to any of these sections, bottom of the video, you'll see those different sections you can look at. But right now we're going to go to additional Unison textures and check those out. This one works really nicely with those layer mixes. We take the atmosphere back, you'll have this beautiful textured droplets, which perfectly describes this, but just adding in that atmosphere with this articulation just gives you that beautiful texture in the background. I feel this one would work really nicely close as well. The swells are probably my least favourite out of all the articulations, but the other ones, I absolutely love them. They're gorgeous. And what Fracture Sounds do really well is this imagery with these different articulations, as well as the names. They so perfectly describe what they actually are. But these are absolutely gorgeous, unique. The quality is outstanding. I love the mic positions. I love the layers as well. They always put so much thought into it. They feel so polished, these libraries, and just they work so well together as well. You can probably see, especially with this patch, as I was going between, I'd click another one. Yes, you're still hearing the other one, but then moving into the next one, they work so well together. And these are just outstandingly gorgeous and beautiful and emotive and create motion as well. So that is our Unison additions. Honestly, you have a wealth of articulations there. Let's now move into the chordal textures. These are really cool because, well, if I just read how they describe, it's better than what I could say. So the Chordal Textures is our latest sampling innovation. It is a sophisticated engine which tracks the notes that are held and intelligently plays back samples which move between those intervals. This means that unlike other sample libraries, you can simply play without having to select a specific key or mode. Interesting. And we do have a couple different articulations for this. We have our mic positions, our layer mix as well. So that's the smart one. You can, of course, pick your own. There's minor and major seconds, minor and major thirds, and fourths as well. But let's leave it on smart and see what happens. That's really cool. Quite unique. Very interesting. If I put that on my... That's quite smart, actually. I really like that. It's very easy to use. And I've said this about, I think, every single Fracture Sounds library that I've reviewed. It's so beginner friendly and they're always so easy to use. There are settings as well in the background. This is the same for all the articulations. You can you delay the release, basically, for latency that essentially is for. There's dynamic range as well. You can affect that, thickness, and you can have your key switch range, which is these bits down here for changing the articulations using key switches. So that's the stuff in the background as well. But that's the first articulation. Let's move on. So we've got perfect fifths with this one as well. Okay. Plenty of options. And what's our settings? Okay, so we have a similar attack release. And there's a density as well, heavy. Put that to light. If we change that to heavy. Okay, yeah, I hear it. It's just, it is lighter, less dense. Yeah, exactly what it says on the tin. I, again, really like that. It's definitely worth clicking and looking in because they've obviously put so much thought into everything on this page. Right, glides. I think I found my favorite articulation. I love that. That's really cool. Beautiful. I love that. Oh, that's very cute. Very easy to play. All these articulations, honestly, it's so easy to get them to sound good. I'm not having put any effort into my playing. They've got a good volume as well. I find with libraries similar to this, they can be a little on the quiet side. This is not the case for this library. I'm glad they've got an intense version of the glides because I really did like that first one. And again, we can affect the density. So that one is actually light. What if I make it heavy? I like how thick you can get this texture. It's an intimate ensemble, but you've got such a good range from thin to thick textures. So that is the Chordal Textures. Same mic positions, nice range of articulations, beautiful textures. Those glides are amazing. Last but not least, we're not going to go through individual articulations, but we are now going to check out the layer blends. Absolutely love this on Trails. It's such a cool addition just to be able to create your own extra layers. And essentially how it works is you've got 3 different layers. Using your mod wheel, you can go between those 3 layers that you pick. You can also just hit a random and you've got the full list of everything there, from your general articulations to your atmospheres as well. And we have a few different atmospheres in there. So as you just saw, I click shuffle. Let's see what comes out of this. Oh, and you can affect the octaves, and it's kind of a synth, organic synth, at least easy to use, I feel, as well. And what's nice about this engine is you're not limited on your range either. You have the entire keyboard at your disposal. You can change the octaves of these as well if you really want. Solo them, lock them, shuffle them around. Oh, don't quite like that part of it. Let's move that around. Let's hit shuffle again, see what happens. Definitely sounds like modern cinematic music, this library, and I love the mix of synthetic and organic that I get from this part of the library. One more random shuffle. I can't, no matter what I seem to do, you can't make this library sound bad. It's awesome, even when you're starting to play tonally. Like, I'll try that now. It sounds good. And there's your underscore for a horror film. See what I mean? Just hit anything, a chord, just random notes, and you can get a really nice organic sound out of it. I absolutely love this library. They've gone and done it again. I love the work that Fracture Sounds do. Very reasonably priced as well, I feel, especially that starting price. All I'm waiting to see now is a bread and butter strings library from Fracture Sounds. They do some great bread and butter pianos, but I'd love to see a bread and butter everyday string library, although I must admit there are so many out there in the industry. It's almost oversaturated. But anyway, this has been String Formations. I've absolutely loved this library. Beautiful textures. I'm getting a lot of Albion 5 vibes from it personally as well. But again, great price, great library, another great job. What do you think of this library? Is this something you're going to be purchasing? Let me know down in the comments, but thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.